Yo, what is up, everybody? Bradley here. We are at it with another episode of The Wire. This is a special episode of The Wire. Today, I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Timbo from MSR. Timbo, for those who may not know you, introduce yourself to us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell us a little bit about the MSR.
First off, thank you, Brad. Thank you for having me. Excuse the baby in the background, trying to get him fed. Uh, so, uh, how can I introduce myself, man? Look, I'm a CFM player. I feel like this is career, man. This is something I do. I was drafted so long ago to play this game and really do it in the franchise sense. But I've been playing Madden for at least competitively for about 12 years. I've been in some of the biggest leagues, some that are still around, some that are not. But I just got started, just loving the game, of course, just trying to play against my friends, and we were playing having our own franchises, and got into the online space. Found out there are a lot of people who like to play the game the same way that I do. Then of course comes rule sets and whole nine. I'm a well-traveled CFM guy. Have been in spaces where I was a nobody, and I like it that way. But to come into my own, and whether it be my gameplay or just making sound decisions, or being able to help other folks out, be creative. I've made my bones just being just a guy that can do a little bit of everything, and being in CFM has been a lot of fun, and I'm just it's been a long road, man. But I'm definitely glad I'm linking up with you today.
Definitely. So, you're talking about like your history with CFM. You're talking about like your roots going like before the days of online CFM. Random question: what is your first memory of Madden? Your first memory of CFM?
So my first memory of CFM was probably 2002, 2003. I want to say I was Madden '03. I remember Dwight Freeney was one of the more coveted players way back then. Julius Peppers actually was one of them as well. And my friends and I would do fantasy drafts. And we were doing these probably twice a week, every couple of weeks, because once someone's team was losing a little too much in the crew, then of course everyone wants to reboot and everyone wants to start over. But that was my first experience really playing the CFM, where I feel like I can connect with my friends and other people around in the neighborhood. And then from there, I'll say my first memory of Madden was probably Madden 97, 96, and I am in my 30s. Yeah, Madden 96, 97, where they first put in the onside kick. I can't remember which one it was, but they put in the onside kick in the game, and it was almost like a glitch where you could kind of always get the recovery. It was something that kind of the older kids in my neighborhood were manipulating, and I was getting a bit out of shape when I was trying to play, thinking I was going to beat them. But yeah, man, this Madden game is well traveled in my lifetime. And I'll probably say I'm 33, so I've probably been in the game in some way, shape, or form for about 25 years.
It's wild. It's wild. So even you're saying even in your childhood, there were issues of leagues rebooting and Madden cheese
Yes,
even in your childhood.
yes, Bradley. There
Can't
were
get away
always
from it.
issues with
Can't get
leagues needing
away from it.
repaired, rebooted. Somebody's doing something wrong.
It's it's no wonder EA doesn't love us, Timbo. Um,
Always issues, right?
mhm. So, man, I know from like following you and following the MSR, you are an incredibly creative person. Anytime I'm in the same room with a creative person, there's a question I love to ask them, and that's basically, what are you excited about? Is there anything that you're excited about creatively that you could share with us?
Yeah, I like to write. That's probably my most favorite thing to do within this space creatively, is to write. I love to write from perspectives that most won't pay attention to or most think of. I like to really feel like I have a beat for the team or for a player. So I feel like I'm a Cowboys in my MSR. So I truly have felt like I'm a beat writer for the Cowboys when I'm covering them. So right now, what I have going on is I'm doing. There's just one player that I've been really excited about the last half of the cycle. and is one of my receivers on my team, and I'm literally doing a whole montage of his touchdowns. Trying to put up like a really good reel for him because it's something it just really, from the time I drafted him all the way through his career through the first couple seasons. So that's been pretty dope. And there's a big thing that I created earlier in the cycle with SR was a first sports agency within the league. So really didn't put it out there the way I wanted to. But the way that the concept was to choose players within the community that, depending on the team, no matter where they go, whether it be because of high draft status or you just don't see something in a player, maybe 6'5" receiver or ultra quick pass rusher, and you try to, come up with concepts or lifestyle ideas. So I'm writing from one of the guys in the class has like siblings, so so I'm writing about that. Another guy's like his favorite drink is apple juice. So we talk about how like that's been a big thing about his career, like as long as he's got his juice or something like that. So that's something I'm finishing up that series. It's a blog series that I started to wrap up their whole careers this cycle. So that's really what's been going on. That's been really pushing me to really close out this Madden 21 cycle strong, to stay creative and come up with something that is just super authentic, but also really it kind of grabs your attention, something that makes you think a little bit outside the box of what we see.
So what I really like about that is something that frustrates me with the Madden Gen players. I feel like for the most part they have no personality, and going down that angle, that pursuit, it brings personality to those characters. I would love it, like the whole. I know one of the points that they're talking about for Madden 22 is like 30 new scenarios or something. I would love it if they had scenarios specifically for like upcoming rookies, and basically they become like, I don't know the best way to explain it. I would love for them to be more than just a name, you know. I don't know if that makes sense, but I love that the whole ideal you're talking about with that. Where would those blogs be available? Is that something only available like within your guys' community, or is there public access to that?
Yes, so all of these actually have a blog site that I created earlier this cycle because I all these years I've been doing like on Google Docs or in my notes app and just posting on Daddy
Yeah.
Leagues and not really have any recollection of them unless they're just, I have the rough drafts in my notes app. But I wanted to have it more structured, a lot more organized this cycle. I have I believe I have about 15 original pieces of writing that I've done all over the cycle, whether it be from my team or other users, other situations, other league topics in the community. So I've gotten all that going, and I use a site called Medium, and I
Mm-hmm.
will get the link together. But my name on there is Call Me Timbo on Medium, and it's been a great platform for me to just because it just allows you to write. You can come up with your own. It's pretty much just a whole think space for you. Just free
Yeah.
write, and then you can post different to different categories or like tagging and things of that sort to try to get your content out there to different eyes. So it's definitely been a good home spot for me to try to just keep my pens to the pad.
I'm a fan of Medium. I've messed around on it a time or two. What I like about it, it gives you the ability to format the posts in a very professional way. It does not take any effort at all to make your posts on Medium look highly professional. You're talking, and you mentioned the tags that they have on it. Have you do you feel like there has been good organic reach with that, or is that something that's not really been a pro for you? My last experience with Medium was a few years ago, and I don't really feel like the tags had significant reach, unfortunately.
And I think we're about the same part because the tags. I think I've probably gotten more original views, original reading of my work based off just my own posting.
Yeah.
From or my other platforms that I use. So um, but there are different ones you see esports, football, things of that sort of whatever you're talking
Yeah.
about, game, whatever content creation, things like that. But I don't truly feel that any particular tag that I put has like blown up my reads. But it is good. One thing about Medium is they show you your real up to date stats of who's reading or how many reads you receive, how many views, how many folks have shared it. So that regardless of how many views you get, it's always good to actually just have a chance to see of your engagement. And like you said, it's such a professional. It gives you such a professional feel for putting your work. So you just really feel like you've posted something to the whole world for everyone to see.
Yeah, the analytics over on Medium are great. I'm a fan of it. I've debated on using it for a couple other projects, but I don't know. But I'm sure I'll probably use it again in the future. It's a good platform. So we were both recently on, I guess, the League Crawler Roundtable, Commissioners Roundtable. Though I'm not a commissioner, so but it's fine.
You should
Um,
be man. Run things.
I listen, man. I'm not. I am a horrible day to day commissioner. Okay, it's not my thing. I can't deal with the drama. I enjoy being the one causing the drama. Okay, I enjoy being the one causing the drama, not the one that has to deal with
Bradley,
it.
I respect your honesty. I
It's
do.
it's the truth. It's the truth. Um, but on that roundtable, that panel discussion we had, the whole topic of the whole panel was Madden 22. And there's been a crap ton of news coming out, and I believe there is even supposed to be more news tomorrow on the dynamic gameplay. Currently recording this, it is the 26th of June. If you're viewing this on YouTube, though, it's probably late July. So the dynamic gameplay is supposed to hit tomorrow, but there's already been a ton of news. Last week was the CFM week. Right now, with all the news we've already had, Timbo, um, what's your biggest takeaway? Like when you think about Madden
Yeah.
22, like what's the thing that comes to mind?
The first thing that comes to mind is, I mean, like we were talking about this on a roundtable. At least for me personally, what stands out to me is just they're at least it seems like they're trying to really make the franchise matter. For those folks who have been really pushing that button, slamming the hashtag, slamming those retweets, or replies, going crazy on social media, and it seems like they finally are listening. There's a lot of elements and that remind me of previous EA titles, some of the NCAA, the old Madden titles, but it gives me that fresh, that fun, that everything matters kind of feel to the game. And I played the beta a little bit. And the gameplay feels a lot better than what we got, towards the back end of this cycle with the next gen, where it doesn't feel as, the movement doesn't feel as clunky. They don't feel as slow. That you can tell that they definitely improved a little bit with the movement. And I'm starting to see like, the like route combinations, they play a little bit different. You have definitely going to, I can see the defensive sides, the adjustments definitely going to matter more. And again, with this dynamic gameplay update that's coming up later this week, or the, I guess, update of information. I just want to see, those other little nuances, those little trinkets that maybe I haven't even thought about yet that are going to come into play. Once we get into the meat of the cycle, man. But it's exciting for me because again, we're tired of one game, but we're getting excited for another one. So those kind of butterflies of wondering what this game's going to be like. How can I be successful with it? I'm looking forward to seeing how all that is going to come together and really make for a lot of fun and really add to the creativity of some of the things that we do.
On the topic of the creative things that you guys do, um, so I am a huge fan of MSR. I'm going to be completely honest with you, Timbo. I came this close to abandoning PlayStation with the next gen. I came this close. I came this close to abandoning PlayStation and going to Xbox for next gen for the simple fact of Sodom Bowl, MSR. Like I would love to
Yeah,
be in house with you guys and like roll
yeah,
with you guys. You guys are some of the most creative leagues I've seen.
yeah,
MSR specifically, you guys hit it out of the park. There's a lot of leagues that try and do creative things, and I think sometimes leagues fall into this trap of being like a carbon copy of something else. This might give me a little bit of heat, but I think one of the greatest leagues to kind of grace the CFM space and do the most for the CFM space, but also at the same time became a stumbling block for the CFM space was what was the name of that league?
Do you need help?
The Dragon League. You know what I'm talking about?
The
What
the
was it? What was it?
the
Crap.
track?
I'm totally like blanking on the name of it. The
I believe it
Jagoda
had.
was the commissioner.
I think it was about 3 letters. Sure, Dragon.
I'm wanting to say Crossfire. Was that the name of the league?
Oh, now cross. Oh, I
Listen,
know.
that
Oh,
league
really?
Crossfire. It was
Bro,
Crossfire. It was Crossfire.
you
Listen.
caught
Hear
me,
me out
bro.
on this. Hear me out on this. Hear me out
Talk
on
to me,
this.
baby. I'm listening.
So
You
so
caught me off guard.
Crossfire was an absolutely amazing league. They raised the bar so much. Like what they did graphics wise within the CFM space, they took things to another level. They
Okay.
took things to another level. They
Okay.
innovated things. The CFM space would not be where it was if it was not for Crossfire.
Okay.
However, in the absence of Crossfire, there have been these sugar daddy template masters that have arisen, and they're selling their templates to whoever will buy them. And you go around on like Twitter, man, like you'll find a dozen leagues using the same templates, and they look completely identical to each other.
Okay, so
Just
we're gonna
carbon
go there.
copies.
We're gonna go there. We're gonna go there. And I'm never one to shy away from real talk, so we're gonna go there. I'm familiar. I know who you're speaking about. I know what's going on. I wasn't expecting. I thought you were talking about a whole another league, but that's fine. We stay right here.
Oh, we can talk about the
Um,
league that you're thinking. I'm
we,
down.
we, we could definitely get there because that's part of my history. But in regards to Crossfire, I mean, well, at least the person that I know was doing a lot of their main visual graphic work. I even got I was I was collaborating with them on some stuff on my own personal thing, and they were giving me tips and showing me some different tricks of the trade. And then, of course, the templates definitely came out there, and I've always been one. I'm never shy away from a template. It's nice, but the thing with me with templates, excuse me, the thing with me with templates is make it your own.
Hmm.
It's got to be your own. It can be a starting point, but it shouldn't look like someone else's work. And I know what you're speaking about. I know that maybe a couple of the leagues that you're speaking about. Um, it could be a little disappointing only because we're creators. We try to be a little bit, a little more fresh. Try to think of things where, okay, I may have gotten inspiration from someone else, but let me show you how I put my twist on it. Um, and you see, some little minions jumping around, some little carbon copies, someone doing this, and it looks like the same box score type of concept. Um, yeah, I didn't know those guys were kind of the culprits there, but yeah, I mean, no, look, you see things sprout up, and there's a lot of uh, you know. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, right? And kind of branching off of that, there's a lot of that going on in the TFM community where you see folks who may see another league do one thing, and also now they're doing it. But thing is, can you keep it consistent enough? Is it does it look good? Will people come back? Is there rewatch or retweet value to it? It's a lot of that, so that's kind of a fine line.
Let me also chime in and clarify. I don't think Crossfire is necessarily like. I don't think that they're like giving everyone like, here's my templates, go be a carbon copy of us. That's like not what I'm saying. Like honestly, I said that I believe Crossfire took things to another level. I believe they are one of the most influential leagues on taking things in the CFM space to another level, and I feel like a lot of the leagues that are heavy on templates. Um, are like aiming to be like what that was. I don't know. I don't know. Not necessarily like specifically that, but you get what I mean, right? Like I'm
Yeah,
not trying to
I'm with you.
throw anyone under the bus, you know.
I know I'm completely with you, bro. I think no, and honestly, what you're saying is you see them reach a certain level, and you see them take off in a certain level where they're kind of leading the pack, or kind of step out in their own lane and really showing that you can do this in a certain way. But then you also have where, okay, it's like the line there, but then is there an accessing point, or you just kind of see a level off and folks kind of just doing the same thing where it's not, it doesn't really have that kind of, for me at least, doesn't have that fulfilling value, which is why I do it. I like to, when I do things, I do it for me. I like to do it myself, and then of course you want people to appreciate it, but I have to like it first. If I don't like it, why would I post it? You know what I mean? So that for me, that's another, folks putting it out there because they truly do it, or they just feel like they're trying to copy and see what they see on the timeline, and it's not really an embodiment of what their community is. It's just kind of just doing it, which is no problem. Be creative how you want to create, but in terms of how we do it, we that perspective is how that's kind of how we come at it.
Yeah. So what's the league that you were thinking of?
So the league that I was referring to, and this league is kind of renowned. They've been around for a long time, but this league is known as the Madden Bomber League, also known as NBL. They are no longer around at this time. Well, I think they maybe refurbished as a different league or something like that. But that was really my apex, I would say, of a Madden league, or at least at the time, join the league, because they were so big. I mean, it felt big. You had guys in the league donate crazy amounts of money at times just to help the league keep churning along. Their streams were huge. I mean, some of the things I'm still, kind of trying to surpass, trying to have us make Twitch partner, things like that. I mean, they were jumping over a lot of lanes and a lot of hurdles, and I became a big, and I want to say this again because I'm sure this is always going to be one. Was he? No, I was a big part of that community, myself and a few others too, who are even in the MSR. But I became a big part of that community, kind of on accident, just because I played the game and I just do what you see me do, all the time, come up with, creative things to do. And yeah, that community was great. And, and to see how that, things went a whole nother direction. But when they were at their best, I mean, it was really just like a constant, the whole community felt it. Everyone was supporting each other. The top, everyone at the top was, you felt it. You could feel the competition, which is a main thing there. You always love the competition in that league. So, yeah, that was the league I was referring to, that kind of had the pulse of everything, where you want to do media, where you want to do, the streaming and the competition. I mean, they had it all, graphics, all that. I would like to say, honestly, that media portion of everything that started there, and kind of even how even transferring to CFM, I feel like I had a big part in that.
This year has been a rough year for CFM. I believe both NBL and Crossfire both closed up shop this year.
Yeah, both, but this particular cycle, I believe, yes, sir.
Both of them were definitely major contributors in helping elevate things to the next level. We're not done elevating, though. We'll continue to grind, and things are far from over.
No, I can't see that, especially with a guy like you. And look, we haven't even tapped in the way where I truly know any process or some of the things you're working on, man. But one thing that I think people like us will always appreciate and respect about one another is you can see when something's dope, and you can see when something's like, I even say it, man. There's certain things I was like, damn, I would have thought, I would have thought that, but almost like no competition like that, but just like, man, that's a cool idea. Like your interviews that you've done, like I saw the one you did with Canoe or whoever the guy was picking the game. Just seeing like you got these guys, maybe they're doing their things, they're at work or wherever they are, but they stopping and giving you that real feel conversation, talking about what's going on within their league. It just feels like you're talking to someone that's in the studio, but they're giving you, on the live in the field, in port with someone else or another owner in your community. So it keeps everyone involved. Gives someone else a chance in the league that maybe won't talk too much. Gives a chance to have that platform, to have that conversation, to speak with you about what's happening in your community. I think that's dope, man.
Yeah, I definitely probably overly push my guys to be involved. Before our Super Bowl, our most recent Super Bowl, I sent DMs to like all of my guys. I'm like, yo, give me a 1 to 2 minute video making your pick of who you got in the Super Bowl, and I'll turn it into Twitter content. I only got like 2 bites, but hey, those 2 bites are quality bites, and I'll take them. Everybody else is a bunch of bums, so if you're listening to this and you're a part of Madden Elite and you weren't one of the 2 people that sent me a video, shame on you. I expect more of you. But yeah, we'll shame them.
Stay on them, Brad.
Yeah. Speaking of like being on my guys and like wanting like pushing them for content, something that I've noticed that MSR does. like in some of your game advertisements, you have actual pictures of your owners. You still there, Timbo? You froze on me. There you are. You froze again. All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, brother.
All right. Cool. Cool. Cool.
We good. We good.
So, game advertisements from MSR. I've noticed you guys have some game advertisements, and there's actual pictures of your owners on the advertisements. Can you tell me about that process and
Yeah. Yeah.
what that's been like for you?
Yes, yes, yes. So we have a couple guys in our community. Well, one of them being our network director, Hop, who led a project trying to get more guys to show their faces around the league. We actually started that last cycle, trying to get putting names to faces. Like you hear these guys that you all the time. You see these guys being promoted, saying they're going to play these games. Well, who are these users? So get. We're at a point where we want to almost we want our users to have their own, almost in a sense, their own brands or their own pool where they're literally like, hey, Joey, I know what to expect from Joey when I see him. I know what to expect from TJ. I know what to expect from Timbo when I see them play. Like, so I'm looking forward to those guys. So I'm tuning into those guys. And that's kind of the mindset that I do when I create things. Like, I want people to also tap into me. Like, we're part of, we're a big community, but also, follow me. Like, this is also what I do. Like, within the league, but this is also some other stuff I have going on as well. So that way, it kind of gives you a little bit of something to buy into. But with the pictures, and that's another thing, trying to get those guys to, it took a minute. I think one of another guys, Bear, he was a big part of trying to get that together and just, hey man, you got to send a picture. Can you guys just send me a picture, please, so we can get this up and done before the season starts, this final season. And sometimes you get 24 out of 32, 26 out of 32, and you got to send those messages 2 and 3 times. But it's added the character well. It's give you, some guys won't send a picture. There's one guy who won't send his picture. His name's Taco. He sends a taco picture every time.
I was going to mention that. I love it. I seen that. I seen that game advertisement with Taco on it.
Oh man, like and it's like I know why he does it. I know why he does it, his own personal reasons, but just because it's everyone expects him to send a picture. Like, come on, is he going? They be like, oh, you still lame, Taco. You still not sending this picture. So, yeah, it just adds that extra flavor, that extra little bit of character that we have as an MSR, and it gives you a chance to kind of put an eye to a name that you hear, and maybe add a little personality to it as well.
I definitely love that. I definitely love that, and that there's something that we're trying to incorporate in Elite. By the time this video goes live, because I'm aiming to post this in July, by the time this video goes live, I believe the team reveal for Madden 22 for Madden Elite will already have taken place. So I'm in the clear to talk to you about this. Okay.
Okay, talk to me.
So we are, for our team reveal, we are basically I've requested pictures of all of our owners. Right now, I think I have 29 out of 32. Is that right?
Okay.
28. I have 28. Okay. I think out of 32. And like this frustrates me because there's one guy that claims he has a picture of him wrestling a bear, but he hasn't sent it to me yet. That's going to be gold if he sends that to me. Mm-hmm.
Where's the proof?
That's going to be gold if he sends it to me. But taking these pictures and I'm basically making mutt style cards out of them. And like we made like team team ratings for everybody, and like they have like overalls. So I think some guys are going to be pretty ticked off about it, but it's pretty cool. We lost your cam. You still
there? I think. Cool. Yeah, I think these. I think the way these guys are, like the cards. I think your guys are gonna love that, man. That would be, connected. Of course, mud has come a big thing over the last few years. So having that kind of style of, creativity too. I think that just sounds like a great idea already.
Yeah. I think I got like 12 of them done right now. I'll send you a sample of them whenever we wrap this up. Let you take a peek at them.
Okay.
But they're pretty cool.
Okay.
Anyways, man, MSR, it's a media-driven league. and you guys kind of tread in an area that I've never tread before with as far as CFM goes. And like I'm not really familiar at all with what the CFM space is like on this particular platform. I'm kind of wrestling with the idea of maybe dipping my toe into it next cycle. I'm not sure yet. But Instagram. Can you tell me about MSR's presence on Instagram and what that's been like and what the CFM space is like there?
So the CFN space is still new in the Instagram world, but there's so much opportunity, man. It's I liken it to your own personal Instagram, honestly, because it's whatever you make it, and um, with the way that these analytics and these algorithms, I'm trying to get my language together, algorithms run on these apps and Instagram being one of them, you can literally draw in some true organic viewership and some followers, based on, of course, the hashtagging, but also just literally the kind of content you're posting, the consistency with the content that you're posting. And I think that's been the major piece with us in the MSR on the Instagram lane, because kind of give you a backstory. Getting into a last cycle, kind of the first way somebody started a TikTok page, and it was cool at first, but again, it wasn't consistent. So from there, I was like, okay, let's do the IG thing, and coming up with ideas of what to post, how to post. The stories have kind of big thing now the last couple of years. So you post on your story to kind of keep people involved with you throughout the day, and then you can have the feed for your main post and things you want to really talk about and bring your main viewership in. This is our third attempt to get Instagram going. And speaking of what you said about the media portion, it ties in to having, it's about the people that you have on the job. If you want something to blow, if you want something to really have a good following, or to get it to where you all feel like really truly good about what's going out there, it has to be, one, consistent, two, catchy. It has to feel like it's coming from y'all. Like, people have to see something, already know what they're getting. Like you said, you see what you get with MSR media, good competition, creativity, things like that. You have to promote your strengths, promote things that are good about your community. That's something that we're still learning. We've had a couple opportunities for folks within the community kind of take it and blossom a little bit, but whether it be to their schedules, their lives, or whatever, couldn't really find their motivation for it. It hasn't really come off the ground like that. So with us, we just really had to find different ways to kind of tinker and keep going. One thing that I did this cycle was I created an IT TV show. Just literally talk to different guys within our community and just, hey, kind of like how you do, with this in the wire and the other things in Elite. But here, we were just literally pulling guys, random conversations. I did a Christmas giveaway on Christmas morning. Gave out gift cards to guys within the league. Just sharing that extra cheer. It was a really good morning. It was Christmas Day, so just felt that, spelling that extra little cheer. Having a guy came back to the community. His name was DK. He left the league at the end of the last cycle, comes back, and it made it a big thing. His return interview, and had some viewers come through and talk about that. So just trying to find a way to get that kind of fresh feel and giving something fresh, something new, but also the consistency piece. And that was another thing that when we're doing things like how we do it, sometimes we're the only ones kind of grinding that wall and kind of trying to put it out there. So that can be taxing as well. So with Instagram, it's just another piece of something that I do within this community. And I have to be the one in certain aspects to push that wheel. So unless I have the right people with me or something like that, sometimes you got to want to push to see it to see it through the way that you want.
I definitely resonate with a lot of what you were saying there. Um, Talking about different platforms and stuff, you mentioned you guys messed around on TikTok a little bit. What was that experience like? I think TikTok, hands down, probably definitely 100% has the best organic reach. My The big thing that kind of pulls me back from dipping my toe into it as far as CFM goes, I just feel like the community scales so young, and like I don't think the potential owners we'd bring in from TikTok would really bring a lot to the table. What do you think?
And that's the thing. That's the thing. But we're even seeing that. Well, we have seen that this cycle. Probably we've probably added the youngest crew of users this cycle. Like some of the
Mhm.
guys that have come in our community, that are
Same
young,
for
like
same for our guys too.
yeah, yeah, man. It's just like you're starting, and it started last cycle, but this cycle you really see it. Like you start to see these young guys who have been, maybe playing Madden, since the 2010s, and you seeing them, start to kind of feel themselves and starting to feel a little bit older, and they're playing the game more now. And of course, with younger guys, of course, you deal with some of their mannerisms and their characteristics, and how they are. So like you said, it's all about what they bring to the community, and that's a big part. Like you play the game, you may be good at it, but what do you bring to the league? What does your standing, or you coming into our league, what does that add to it? And you could be good, you may be creative, but it's also about what the kind of like having that total package. And you see that you see that TikTok though. We had a couple guys who were trying to. I think it was more about user rank, and that's something we'll get to. But they were trying to build themselves up, and they were kind of in the middle of the pack. So they wanted to put some content out, and they were putting out some nice videos. One had the NFC side, the other guy did the AFC side. But of course, an infraction happens, they get in trouble, and all of a sudden they're not as
Hmm.
gung ho to put out that same kind of content. So that's the thing. Like having that person where, regardless of what's going on with them, it's about the league first, and it's kind of hard to really acquire that of people because I always say it's a privilege to be in our league, but we're not requiring you to do anything. It's like you should, if you here, you should feel like, okay, I'm gonna add to. I'm like, I see everyone adding to this with no problems on their own time, outside of everything else they have going on. Why can't I do that the same? And I wish more people had that mindset, but not everyone does. So you kind of have to, kind of you take what you get, but you also you want to kind of squeeze as much good out of the people as you can, because not everyone is going to think about things or come to your community with the same viewpoint as you. So it's all about kind of making them buy in with how you immerse them in what we have going on. TikTok, it's been, like you said, it's got a good organic reach, but we haven't really found a way to kind of flash that out yet.
Yeah. So being like a media driven league, um, and being kind of the person behind it, there's definitely a weight on you with that. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. It sounds like you're the one carrying a good part of the weight. Um, and if you're anything like me, you probably always have your eyes open for more people that can come in and kind of carry that weight. Like every time, like so. Listen, when a team comes open in elite, basically our admins discuss who the spot should go to. And anytime anything comes open, I'm looking at the waiting list and be like, okay, which of these guys will help take the media to the next level? And I think all of our other admins probably get annoyed with me because I'm like, yo, this guy right here, he can run OBS. And the thing about it, though, right? I think the thing about it, though, when trying to bring in more content creators to a league, it's kind of a selfless gig. Like if I was to like if something was to happen and I was to leave Madden Elite tomorrow, which isn't going to happen, I would have nothing to show for my work. And like when we're trying to bring other people in to add to what we're building, it's a selfless thing because in the end they're not going to have anything to show for it. Like there is nothing that they can put their thumb on and be like, "This is mine," because when you're doing what we're doing, right, it's not about ourselves. It's about the overall betterment of the league. And I think anytime you can find anybody to come in and contribute, you've definitely found a piece of gold, a nugget of gold. I'm always super thankful for the guys that we have that help contribute. It's kind of a rabbit hole. What are you thinking? I know I'm going down a rabbit hole.
No, you're good. You're good. And this is me all the way, man. Like I can talk about one thing, and we have three, four other branches that lead back, but it always comes back. Like the conversation will always come back to where we started. I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the media portion and how, and I said earlier, being in the NBL. I really feel like the impact that I had there was in the media aspect. I created literally a whole. I created literally a pseudo Bleacher Report. I created a whole Bleacher Report. Like it was the NBL's Bleacher Report, but I created it literally in my hands. Like it's surreal even as I talk about it right now because it was just something I was doing for fun. And some of my best tweets, some of my biggest tweets, some of my biggest stories, or the things that really made the most waves in that community, I was doing on the way home or going into work. Like and I live in the DC area, so public transportation is big. Commuter trains and things like that into the city where everyone goes into work. And in between stops, sometimes we're outside. You may get service for a couple of minutes, and like as we're entering the station, I'm going into Google and I'm thinking of let's say who at the time, let's say Alshon Jeffrey, of course, at the time he had a big game that week. So I'm thinking of a picture. Let me try. I'm gonna go to Getty Images. I'm gonna find Alshon Jeffrey. I'm gonna try to get a picture without the watermark. And then I'm gonna put that picture and I'm gonna type and I'm gonna say coming off of a slow 2 game ski. And I'm literally thinking this as
Yeah.
we're pulling into the train station. I'm trying to think of one picture that's gonna fit that. Then I get the picture, I save it, and then cool. I'm typing up because of course you can't send, so I'm typing up stations. I'm hitting send as soon as we get the next signal. Like that was literally like from the ground up, and it felt like truly like I was the guy, like I was the Adam Schefter, or I was the the Woj of the NBL because I was breaking everything. I was talking to guys, I'm DMing guys like, hey, you've been struggling lately. How do you feel? Going up against this tough stretch of good users, man. Like how you gonna get yourself back together? Like I'm coming up with these stories. I'm coming up with these blogs. I'm coming up with these quick takes where it's just 5 quick little quotes that I'm putting out during the day. Like it felt real, and to have that kind of mindset, have that kind of background, and really want to do that, you just really have to be the guy that loves it. Like you said, it's selfless. It's something that you truly have to do. And then also, you said selfless, also thankless. It's something that don't expect to get a lot of thank yous for. Don't expect to feel like, hey man, you're really setting trends, or you're really the guy that's pushing this thing ahead. Because most folks won't either understand it or won't really appreciate it. So like you truly have to love this. Like you truly have to want to put out something and really create your own spin to it. And I think that's one of the reasons main reason why you and I connected. And also, it adds so much. It adds so much just extra flair and energy to your community. I couldn't see myself being the kind of community I was years ago, where it was just like we played the games and no one talked about anything else. Like we just had your little random trash talk in the chat of people saying this and that. But that got stale to me. I'm like, man, like I want to talk about my receivers. Like I got a crazy receiving core. Like I want to talk about these guys in the way outside of y'all, because y'all don't appreciate it in the chat. How can I talk about these guys? And you start thinking about, okay, reading. We follow Bleacher Report, we follow ESPN, we follow all these different accounts. I find inspiration from these. I try to find different graphics or different ways of writing or how they put these points out there. And it's hard, man. Like you said, it can be hard to feel like you're the only one that's doing it. And you want people. I do it because I want people to have fun with this. I'm like, my tagline is ball and create. Ball out, create some dope shit while we do it. And I really feel like when you really have that mindset while you're playing in CFM, your happiness, like the limit for your happiness is endless. There's nothing you could really go wrong if you're trying to be creative and then also having fun. You may lose a game, but find a way to spin that to where like, all right, that loss is not even going to bother me in 30 minutes because I don't maybe put a different perspective on it, or I posted a dope picture of my guy catching a touchdown even though we lost. Like there's just different ways that I try to channel something, whether it be creative or different or bright, that could really add to the character and the flair that we try to bring up in the MSR.
Something that resonated with me in the mix of everything you're just saying. You talked about how some people how it's thankless, and how some people they just won't get it. And you talked about how like you mentioned that you wouldn't want to be a part of a league that didn't do the media stuff, that was just kind of like play your games. I think it's definitely a shift in culture from the just play your games type league to a media driven league. I think it's a completely different culture, and I think it's a culture that even your owners have to get used to. You talk about how like sometimes guys won't get it. season 1 in Madden Elite, I had to tell multiple people, I'm sorry, but it's not negotiable. The Super Bowl will be streamed with commentary. It's non-negotiable. Um,
We're gonna do this for some
non-negotiable.
commentary, man. We're gonna break this game.
Non-negotiable.
It's the biggest game of the season. Come
Yeah,
on.
non-negotiable. But
Yeah,
hey,
I think that's when you see the kind of sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
oh no, you're fine. You can go ahead. I think you froze on me again. You there, Timbo? Timbo has frozen on us again. We'll give him a few moments. There we go. You're back.
I thought I lost you. You went black. That's crazy.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Well, we're good. We're good. So, I'm not sure where we were, but on the topic
No, we were
of like
talking about
on the topic of various
yeah.
social medias, are you familiar at all with Clubhouse?
I am familiar with Clubhouse. Yes, I
Are you
am.
on it?
I am on. Yes, I am.
Okay, okay. I was gonna say I can hook you up if you're not, but it sounds like you already are.
I am.
What do you
I'm on
think
it.
about Clubhouse? I've
I think.
spent I've spent a
Yeah.
little bit of time checking it out, but I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings. I think it's a good idea.
It is. It's definitely a starting point for a lot of things. Like some of the rooms that they have, they're just for folks to network and talk about different topics, and as they like to say these days, share free game, things like that. Try to talk, bounce ideas off each other. I think where they kind of um maybe dropped the ball a little bit was there was no foresight. I don't think there was really anything past the opening. Much of it was just like kind of like we have this app where we do other stuff in it, but it was like, okay, what's the progression point of it? How will the app evolve? Things like that. And I think that's maybe even still under under development. I don't know, but I mean, the I guess the allure of that really wore off after those first few months. It's an interesting place. I mean, you could, if I'm thinking for things like within CFM, I mean, I think the highest of that, or the best that you could get from that, is if you have all your guys buying in.
Yeah,
Because you could do like a live, you could have, that's perfect for a draft. Like, of course, Discord has those servers, but Clubhouse is good for that too. And you could raise, you can let people know when they could raise their hand so they could speak, stuff like that.
yeah,
More order to it and things like that. But yeah, I'd say just from my early testing and feeling of it, it seemed very good at first, but you could start to see it was like, it was definitely a shelf life in terms of how innovative or how expansive the app would be.
yeah. So we've been going at this for almost 50 minutes. I think you and I could probably talk all night long, man. But I don't want to keep you too long.
Oh, we
As we wrap this up, I'm curious. What would you say to an individual that was looking to start a Madden league, and they're looking to not be just another league, right? They don't want to be just a play your games league. They want to be something more. Or maybe the individual who they are running a league, and their league kind of is in that territory where guys are just playing their games, and maybe they have a little bit of media here and there, but they're really wanting to elevate and raise the bar. What would you say to that individual?
if there's an individual trying to start their league today, that kind of focus of Madden, of media and immersion, I think first off they need to define what kind of member they're going to be in their own league, because everyone that starts a league isn't the one that should run the, and that's an important piece. Just because you have the idea of bringing something together doesn't mean you know how to run it. Not everyone's a leader, and that's one thing that I've learned here. Being in CFMs, that there is a certain quality that takes to deal with 31 other folks every day. Like there's a certain there's a certain fact that you have to have where that's like comfortable. because, like you said, the drama. Like you don't want to deal with the drama. You like to be the one sometimes causing it. Which, like I said, I appreciate the honesty because there's some people who don't know if they want to run the league or if they want to be the ones that's stirring the pot a little bit, but want to have some say so. Like you can't do both, man. And I mean, people can literally you can do both, but it doesn't make for the best situation if you're going to do both. So that's first. Another thing is um, be mindful of the community that you're creating. Know the folks that you're bringing. Have some type of folks need to have some type of cachet to something that they've done. Well, some users have been about it before, or maybe played in other leagues before. But I think it's very important to have users like-minded. They don't always have to think exactly the same, but do they want the same things within their community that you want? Or are they working towards those same goals to have those things in the community? I think that's a big piece. And your parameters. I don't like to call them rules. I don't really like to call them restrictions. I like to say they're parameters. Set your parameters accordingly. If you're trying to be a league about realism, close to the NFL type, make sure you're truly doing some either some due diligence, some research, your homework on. Look at other leagues' rule sets, which is no problem at all. I mean, there's rules that MSR have taken inspiration from and either remix them a little bit or just straight up, hey, I like that rule. Let's make that a part of our community. We've done that. And I've been a part of that. I'll make no bones of saying that I've done that. It's just about doing what's best for you and your crew. I think that's the main thing. If you're trying to make the best experience for you and your league, it is very important to know exactly what you're trying to put in your league. What are you trying to bring into the league? What are you trying to have seen and known about your league on a day-to-day basis? Because when you play in these 32-man leagues, you're doing this on a day-to-day basis, and every 48 to 72 hours, you're getting ready to schedule and play a game against someone else, wherever they are in the country. So I think for someone that's really trying to build something from scratch, know what you're trying to do. Know what you would like to see if you were just another member in the league. I think that's a key piece. Step outside of yourself and see yourself as just another member and see how you would look at it. And then more than anything, I would say finally, be ready to say no. Be ready to say no. Everything's not yes. You learn a lot about people when you tell them no. Those bros and those those feel good moments kind of cease a little bit when you tell someone that first no, they don't really like it that much. So again, like I said, it all depends. What if you're trying to be a leader, or you're just trying to set the stage and have other folks come in, your admins, all those things are very crucial points. And set the tone. Excuse me. Finally, set the tone with your content. If you're gonna do media, set the tone. Know what you're gonna put out there. What you put out there sets the tone. And if you want that kind of consistency, you want that kind of energy from other folks, you have to be the one to set that tone and for others to see like, oh, that's the bar I need to reach, or that's something I want to do, or kind of get a little bit of game from. I think that's a key piece. Make sure you put that energy out that you want to receive back.
I love it. I agree wholeheartedly with everything you said. Timbo, thank you so much for hopping on with me today or tonight and doing this with me, man. We definitely need to do it again. I feel like we could definitely go another hour very easily.
We can have a pre and post show. I promise.
But yeah, man, we will definitely do this again. Those who checked it out, thank you so much for checking it out. Until next time, peace.